Clay, you had something for us. I don't know if you can present with Digby sitting there.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, what I did was I took all the films of last year, and because there weren't like a lot of like incredibly original films, I wanted to see out of the top 100 films, like you know, let's see here. Damn it. Sorry.
I'm literally doing it with one arm tied
I
behind his back.
am, because he's like getting restless. So I took Box Office Mojo and imported it, and then I defined all the movies by type. I started to put our names in to see like how we did in our draft, to see like what kind of films are we getting.
Yeah.
And let me see here. Where is? I have a pie chart. I have information. Damn it! There it is.
I love a good pie chart.
Yeah,
pie chart.
So
rhubarb pie chart.
I had rhubarb pie last year for the first time ever, and it was good.
Was it?
Me good rhubarb. Yeah.
So no lying there from.
Oh God! Can you not just open this?
Yeah, the.
I think that's
I'm blanking like you, Josh. I know what you're going for. I just can't think of bebop, rhubarb pie.
Yeah, exactly.
So the bulk of what we get as films are sequels and adaptations. And I include an adaptation, like the Garfield movie was in there, so I say that's an adaptation. If there's a book, it's an adaptation, manga, comic. But if it's a sequel, like Deadpool versus Wolverine, I put it in sequels. There are a few that are remakes, which would be like Nosferatu. But we also had a few re-releases like, oh my God, Coraline was a re-release. Interstellar was re-released. And those both made the top 100 films.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and so we even had biopic like Lee. We also had a Reagan biopic.
That's right.
Yeah, fuck Reagan. And this is
the Apprentice would be a biopic, right?
The Apprentice.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Trump movie.
Oh, it wasn't in the top 100.
The Sorcerer's Apprentice?
That had real problems getting distribution. Like nobody wanted that movie.
I don't understand why. That sounds great. You won a Golden Globe for a different movie.
For a different movie, yeah, exactly.
He was nominated for 2 things though. One of them was The Apprentice. There's a better look there, Clay.
Yeah, oh, that's way better. Yeah. So original films of 2024 that made the top 100 is such a small percentage of what we're getting, because it's just rehashed old stuff that I'm getting. It's kind of a bummer, that we're not getting original film anymore. But I think film is changing, and I think that's the problem. There isn't the experience of going to the theater anymore. It's just properties, and that's
they're
really
not gonna. None of the top executives at any of these movie companies are going to push for a mid-level art film anymore to get to the theaters. It's all going to be just tentpole stuff for the most part.
But this goes back to the argument I often make about the 80s, where you had big summer blockbusters that were new and unique. Last Starfighter, Back to the Future, Goonies. Like, these were things that were big budget films, but they're new and unique stories. And we just don't seem to do that anymore. That doesn't seem to be the point. And it's kind of sad. I mean,
I don't think that they have. I think there's a problem in 2 different areas. So one, I think the problem is they do occasionally try it, and I will bring back I'm gonna say a thing that's like over a decade old, but like Jupiter Ascending.
Oh, okay.
Or like so, like there are things that they will try, but like for whatever reason, the audience doesn't go see them, and they become these huge money losses, and then it scares them off from doing stuff like that. Now, I do think that they're like Everything Everywhere All at Once, like huge gangbuster movie. For whatever reason, they don't learn from those movies. Like,
good point.
They just, they're just like, oh, weird, okay.
Yeah, I mean, like Jupiter Ascending, I feel like was one of those films that they want to turn into a franchise. Like, why can't we just tell a simple standalone story? Last night, I was watching the Criterion Channel. Thank you. The Party Girl with Parker Posey.
Oh,
was
yeah,
just
totally.
Great movie.
a
Great
simple
movie.
story, and like the 90s independent cinema, like we wouldn't have Kevin Smith if we didn't have those kinds of films coming out at that time.
Right.
And it's just a story about a girl in financial trouble who goes to work at the library and her life, and that's it. We don't tell those stories anymore about normal people. And
I feel like all that stuff gets diverted to streaming right away. So like Night Bitch with Amy Adams sounds like that sounds like one of those movies that would be kind of akin to that.
But here's a good kind of parallel, right? Because again, I think the issue becomes when the baseline is we're starting a franchise, right? So the Dark Universe, total disaster. But what ended up happening after that was a disaster? They said, okay, well, we still have the property. So then you get The Invisible Man, which was a unique retelling of that. You get these other ways that they approach them, and those end up being good and compelling. So I feel like the issue is, why are they not putting money into big budget, one and done kind of tentpole summer movies, right? Again, I just go back to like Back to the Future or The Last Starfighter, right? Because those were interesting scripts that got big money behind them. And you only have one Last Starfighter. You don't need a trilogy, right?
This right here. This is why, because there's $1 billion out there, and everyone's chasing that as opposed to making a good movie.
Yeah, and I also think that those directors, I think we're seeing a lot of directors that are coming from like that are kind of following the Michael Bay, like they're commercial directors that studios can control easier.
Yep.
And a lot of those like older, your Spielbergs, who's the guy that did the Here movie?
Right.
Robert Zemeckis.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I feel like they're still out there doing, like Zemeckis is still doing some really interesting stuff.
Right.
But again, people just aren't going to see it. Like they're just not going.
I think we're going to hit burnout, and I don't know when, but it's going to be when we don't see these $1 billion films.
Or when we start seeing films that they don't want to release theatrically that do really well in streaming. And I think we're going to start seeing that more and more.
Yeah.
And executives are going to be scratching their head like, well, why did this do well and this not, right? I do worry at a certain point it's just going to be all streaming, and all we're going to get theatrically are the Avengers, the MCU, big tentpole. You want to see it in a big screen, right? And that's it.
Yeah.
I think as long as movie studios are willing to, and this is the big if they're willing to put prints out there for movies to watch or theaters to screen, I think you'll see, kind of in the way bookstores have kind of gone, like a return to the more indie.
Yeah.
And if we're showing this old, like, here's something that you can come and watch. And then some theaters honestly just stream Netflix to their screens or whatever. Small solar theaters, I see those on TikTok all the time.
Interesting.